In this example, we are going to be looking at establishing and replenishing the petty cash fund. So the petty cash fund is generally just a small amount of money that is kept in the office to make miscellaneous purchases that generally aren't planned. So we have a small company that maintains a petty cash fund for minor expenditures. In February and March, the following transactions took place. So the fund was established in the amount of $200 on February 1st from the proceeds of check number 2717. So with that, here is a journal entry on February 1st. We're going to debit petty cash and credit cash because somebody from the company wrote a check number 2717, took it to the bank, cashed it, so they could physically have the cash on hand on location. So we debit petty cash to establish, and then we credit cash. The other thing at this point is you will never debit or credit petty cash again unless you're going to change the $200 amount. Because what happens then is you can see on February 28th, the petty cash fund had cash of $30.92. That means we spent all but $30.92, and then we had the following receipts on hand. We bought some postage, we bought some supplies, we had some delivery expense, we brought a rubber stamp, and then we had check number 2748 was drawn to replenish the cash fund. So we're going to look at what our journal entry looks like on B. Now, if these items were bought on a normal, what we've done in our traditional journal entries, for example, with postage, we would have debited postage expense and credited cash. When we bought supplies, we would have debited supplies and credited cash. So that's what we have to do now because all of those items were bought with petty cash, but they haven't been put into the journal. So what we're going to have to do then is debit and show where we spent all that money. So we debit postage expense for the $80. We bought supplies, so we debit supplies. We had a delivery expense, and then we had a miscellaneous expense for our rubber stamp. And all of those add up to $169.08. So you'll notice we have a cash credit for the $169.08. And what happened was that was the amount of all the money that we spent. And so we only had $30.92 left in there, so we needed to somehow get the other $169.08 into our petty cash, physically get that cash on hand. So we write another check for cash for the amount, go to the bank, cash it, physically bring it back, and now we have $200 on hand to start March. So in March, at the end of March, we only had $44.12 left. So you can calculate how much money we spent out of the 200, and then it says where we spent it again. So again, we do our journal entry to record everything that we purchased. We bought postage, supplies, we had some delivery, and then you'll notice this one has a cash shortened over because it says that check number 2897 was drawn to replenish the fund, and that's for the amount of $155.88. But we have to figure out why we're short or over. So if you were to take the $200 that we initially had in our petty cash and subtract out the $44.12 left, it shows that we would have $155.88. But we only have receipts totaling for our supplies and our delivery service, our postage, our supplies, and our delivery service. So if you add those up separately, $68.40 plus our $65.68 plus our $12.80, we only have receipts that total $146.88. So we're $9 short. We lost $9 short somewhere, so we have to debit the cash short and over for that difference.